All right, what's up, everybody? It is Thursday night, week 9. Man, I feel like October just flew by. Justin, Michael, you guys are here with me again. This is definitely the best week of football. Hopefully, it can be a profitable week for everybody. So, how you guys doing? Appreciate you guys being here again.
Doing good, man.
Well,
Thanks.
yeah, how are you, Ryan?
Oh man, it's good. It's like I said, this is like I don't know. It's the best time for sports betting. It's the best time for business. It's getting cold outside. Feels like football season. So let's get right into it. I said it's the best week of football because there's a handful of marquee games. I want to get your guys' takes on them, see if there's value. We'll start with the Chiefs and the Dolphins. I was really surprised. I know, Michael, you spend a lot of time with Justin. I'm sure you do too, like guessing the lines before they come out. I know the Chiefs lost last week, but I still figured the Chiefs be favored by at least 2.5, maybe 3. I'm looking at 1.5 right now. I like the Chiefs. I don't have a super strong opinion on it. I don't like the fact that it's 9:30 in the morning. That just messes everything up for me. Not a big fan of it, but I don't have a strong take on it. My feeling is the game is going to go over. Just being overseas, hard to prepare. So if I had to go one way, I'd probably go over. What's that number at? 50.5. Feels
hmm
like feels like an over is the right move there. But Justin, why don't you start us off? You got a feeling on the Dolphins and the Chiefs?
Well, just going back to the spread, I mean, I feel like it kind of makes sense because it's a neutral game. They're going to give Kansas City the lean slightly. Like if it was in Kansas City, it might be up to 3, but I didn't think it would be that high personally. So I think around 2 sounds about right. But I don't know. I feel like I keep getting Kansas City wrong. I keep picking against them. I finally liked them last week and they sucked. So kind of whatever I'm feeling seems to be the opposite. But having said that, I don't love either side, but I think I'm leaning Miami.
Michael, you got the
Um,
red
I
sweatshirt
don't
on.
really have any reason or any explanation. That's just
Yeah,
my
it,
feeling.
right. I feel like they're gonna
I,
play them. What do you think, Michael?
yeah, I'm with you, Ryan. At least initially, I like the Chiefs. I actually really wish this was in the United States because I would have best bet Kansas City and been all over it. Um, I think Kansas City people are the market is slow to catch up to the fact that they have a very good defense. And like we've mentioned here in the past, their offense actually is very kind of not explosive and they need to have like 10, 12 play drives to score points where um they're just kind of they're not this high flying team anymore. But having said that, that defense really does make the difference here, in my opinion. I think their defense is can at least no one can stop Miami's offense, but they can at least make enough stops where Miami's defense is, in my opinion, below average, where Kansas City can kind of just pick their spots, literally matriculate 4 to 5 yards every play. It's not going to be exciting, but Andy Reid is a master at that. So lean Kansas City. The reason I'm not all over it, like I said, is it's Germany, it's unknown, it's a weird time. So I'm not making this a play. And the other big thing, I love the Ravens when we played Tennessee because we got there early in the week, if you remember, and the Titans got there late. I think I just did a quick Google search. Miami's been there early in the week, and Kansas City's leaving tonight. So it's like, come on, guys. So
So
pass for me, but that's my handicap.
right, like
Why
if
don't
you're
teams realize that why can't both just go early? That seems to be the right move.
you know, well, that's probably a separate conversation for another day. But everyone has to have their own plan, figure out what the right thing is, and talk to the right experts and all that jazz. But what I want to get across, because I think a lot of people that listen, at least a lot of people that I know that bet significant amount of money, are always trying to find 1 or 2 games. So I want to go through these next couple of games, but then we'll get into where we have strong opinions on because yeah, these games are going to be on television, and I feel like people are going to have an opinion on it. This one feels too easy to me because I just don't like the Cowboys. I've been against them all season. The Eagles are -3. If I was betting, I promised myself I wasn't betting significant money on the NFL until the playoffs. I would 100% bet the Rams money line. I got on here last week, and it was funny. We didn't even talk about that game, and I really like the Bengals. But if I had to pick one game last week, to be honest, I would have liked the Rams. So I just felt like the coaching matchup, I'll bet against McCarthy anytime I think it's a significant edge. I don't, for some reason, I don't like love the Eagles though. Like I feel like they'll win, but I don't know if I'm blinded and the Cowboys are better than I think they are. So Justin, why don't you go again? Eagles Cowboys. We got Eagles -3. Totals 46.5. These games seem to be going over more times than not when these two teams play. What do you think for this game?
Yeah, it's another one where, yeah, it's a great game. I don't really have a strong opinion either way. I'm leaning Philly just because that seems to be the track record. I don't fully, Dallas is very inconsistent. I don't know if I fully trust them. Trust Philly a little more at home,
And
but
Pollard's out, right?
I don't know.
I thought he got hurt last year, that week, didn't he? Sorry to put you on the spot like that.
No, it's yeah. I didn't look at that fast. Michael, do you know about? I know you haven't had
No,
him
I don't think, but I'm not sure.
Well, that'll be
But yeah,
nice.
either way, yeah, I lean Philadelphia, but I mean, yeah, like I said, Dallas is very unpredictable. Getting 3 points in a divisional game, it's not the worst thing. So I don't know. Toss up for me. Lean Philly.
Yeah, I'll jump in, just piggyback and say agree on Philly. Not enough to make it a play, but um, I think Dallas is a team that beats up on the bad ones, and when they kind of play a good kind of playoff team, they kind of crumble. They lose to San Fran every time. Philly's kind of that upper echelon team, but I think Ryan, to your point, Philly, I don't think they're nearly the same as explosive or as dominant as they were last year. I've mentioned this before. They lost both their coordinators. That has to have made an impact. I think their pace of play is down. They're not running as many plays offensively. Their defense has given up a lot of points. I mean, Washington put up like I think 30 against them twice. So
I think
it's
the
not,
Eagles,
again, it's like these are quote the best teams, but are they really even that good? They're kind of trustworthy. It's like, but it's
yeah,
where we are.
the Eagles losing both their coordinators. They didn't lose. I think that hurts. And I don't know if I was playing a Madden franchise early in the week, but Tony Pollard's completely healthy. So let's just disregard that. If I knew how to
Yeah.
edit that out, I would. But instead, I just had to correct myself on the fly. Really don't know where that came from. Anyway, I do think you're right that there doesn't feel like a dominant team. I think last week we were talking about when we were growing up, it's like there's certain coaches or certain quarterbacks that you felt really confident about. That leads us into the next game. I've heard so many. So I got about, I don't know, off the top of my head, maybe 4 or 5 people. I know Mike Lombardi is the first guy that comes to mind that I want to hear his opinion each week on the football games. Not from a gambling perspective, just like break it down for me, things that maybe I don't see. And this Bills Bengals game, I've heard him and then a handful of other guys have opposite opinions, like super strong opinion on the Bills, super strong opinion on the Bengals. I obviously liked the Bengals last week, a little mini victory lap for me. I don't I don't really have an opinion on this game at all. I was dead wrong last year in the playoffs. Thought the Bills would win that game. Bengals completely dominated them. The lines moved all the way to what? Bengals now are favored by 1.5. Michael, where you got? What do you see in this game? Bengals, Bills. Talk to me.
Yeah, great matchup here. So it's really tough because you were definitely right last week with Cincinnati. I was on San Francisco, full disclosure. I like to play more if Purdy didn't play, but Cincinnati went in there and took care of business. They clearly were ready to go after the bye. It's kind of what they've done every year, kind of come out the first 6 weeks, look kind of terrible, and then just all of a sudden turn a switch and all of a sudden they're like a top 5 team. So can it continue? We'll see. I'll break it down this way. If you just look at Cincinnati's stats based on what they've done so far this year, like I said, they're an average team at best. Buffalo way above those metrics. They're hitting their stride kind of offensively. I honestly think their tight end Dawson Knox, I think, just got hurt. Such an insignificant sounding player, but I think what's really important for them formationally is they made a concerned decision to change from going from a 3 wide receiver set to a 2 tight end set, which is why they drafted Kincaid. So we got Knox, Kincaid. They're kind of like this new offense on the starting this year. So they're kind of working it out. When he went down, they reverted back to their three wide, 1 tight end set, and went up and down the field against Tampa. I think that's what they're a little more comfortable with. So if I'm catching points with Buffalo, I got to take them here. Again, I keep saying not enough for a play, but I'm just going to trust that Cincinnati couldn't have gotten that good that quick. And with Buffalo, I will say they've sustained a lot of injuries. I think their defense is just missing pieces. So again, they're probably not as good as their ratings are, but I'll take Buff plus the couple of points.
What do you think, Josh?
I don't like to buy a team when they're super high, like Cincinnati coming off of that win. Having
Right.
said that, I think I've repeated myself on this podcast. I don't like the Bills this year. I think they're not as good as previous years, and I don't know. I think they're more of a average to a little above average. I don't know, top 10 team. And like Michael kind of was saying, I think Cincinnati's starting to hit a little bit of stride. Maybe Burrow's a little healthier. It's more of a play against Buffalo. But I'd say moderately like Cincinnati. I think I saw -2. I think it started at Buffalo -1 or 1.5 or something. It's down to Cincinnati -2. But I think I'm thinking back to last year's night game that had to get interrupted because unfortunately Hamlin, the situation happened to him.
Right.
Not that it's the same teams at all. I'm thinking Cincinnati was kind of, even though it was only the first quarter, I think they were kind of in control of that game. They took it to them in the playoffs. I was on Cincy in that game. I'm gonna go Cincy again in this one.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati's much better coached. There's a couple things. There's a couple things I want to throw at you guys now that we went through those three games, because when you're gambling, it's different than watching the games, right? Obviously, we all know that. So go through those games. If you're betting on the games, though, and you're trying to find value, unless you have a super strong opinion on one of those six teams, they're all stay away games at the end of the day. Because if you have a strong opinion, like if you feel like, hey, one of these teams is really bad or one of these teams is superior, I would say go ahead and bet it. But I think the right way to look at it is all six teams will be in the playoffs. They're a good chance they can play each other again. It's probably better to watch these games. I think this is the time of the year. I want to set you guys up this way, hear what you guys think about this week. But this is the time of the year where teams start to separate, and you can be like, okay, this is a team. They're not trying to lose, but let's say they're rebuilding is not the right word, but retooling, trying some things out, not quite committed to making a playoff run. And the first team that jumps in the mind is like the Cardinals, right? That's a team where I don't know how many of those guys are excited about playing this week. And I see a number like Browns -8.5. And my first thought is like, 8.5 points with the freaking Browns. Like in any situation, no matter what, I don't want to give 8.5. But now I want to look deeper into it, and that's my favorite game this week. Not a favorite game like I'm running to the casino, but my favorite game because I think the Cardinals are at a position where what's the quarterback's name? Thune, Clayton, whatever his name is. Like the Browns defense is so good. I would say under Cardinals total team points, whatever that number is, can't be higher than 14.
That's what I was about to say, probably 14.
Is that your favorite, Michael? We're gonna start with you. We're gonna go through your picks. First, give me your feedback. Is the Browns a play? Is it more of a teaser for you? And floor is yours. Help people make some money.
You took the words out of my mouth. It is the most easy, obvious teaser leg, in my opinion. If you have that much conviction, Ryan, you think they're going to win the game, tease them with every single other team that's teasable and find many opportunities. Just get exposure to that. They fit into the range. They're one of the every week there are a number of teams, but that's in that range. While we're on teases, I'll throw out who I'm on this week. It seems to be the trend just to get those out. So Cleveland definitely won as long as it's 8.5 or less. Get that to under a field goal. I'm going to take the Saints as well down to under a field goal, 1.5, 2, whatever that number is, just to beat the Bears. I think Tampa Bay, although I do like Houston, especially for the long term, just getting 8.5 with Tampa, getting the better defense. I like that one. And lastly, the Giants against Vegas. What a dumb game, but it's basically like there's like 4 or 5 preseason games on here, and the spreads are 1.5, and the totals are 36. You have to understand that NFL's product has just gotten to this point. But those are my 4 that I like the most. I'm going to use many combinations between them.
Did you feel
That's
old?
what
Real quick, did you feel old like I did when Antonio Pierce was named the head coach? And I was like, I vividly remember him playing, and I was like, that was 15 effing years ago. Like he was on the Super Bowl team, right? Like he was on the second Super Bowl team that beat the Patriots, not the one that beat the undefeated team. He was on the second one, which was like whatever. Anyway, it was so long ago. I love I love the Raiders in that game. But you're saying you like the Giants as a tease. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah, no, it just so yeah, I know from a handicapping perspective, like Vegas makes sense firing their coach. They're going to kind of get up for that first game. It's a good
Oh,
angle, but just getting the Giants over a touchdown is like you just got to take that. And if it loses, it loses. You know, maybe if you don't want to play it in your teasers, don't. But those are my four confident ones. I would say that as I guess my least of them. The other three I do like more because what a dumb game. How can you have such a strong opinion on either side besides Trent? But let me give out a couple picks and then we could pass this over. I'll be brief. Give me Indianapolis against Carolina. This is a mini. Indy's a slight favorite. I think they're two and
Two
a
and a
half.
half, three, something like that.
If it's up to three, that's crazy. But I like the money line.
That's
But
what I saw.
I'll lay the 2.5. Threes. I'll get there, I guess. But it's just a buy low ish of Indy coming off the loss. Carolina got their win. They're happy, and they actually play on Thursday night. I think that kind of matters 4 days later. Give me the call. It's a dumb game, but I'm putting my money down on them. The other one is the Rams. So I'm going to finally get the injured player theory out on this one. Uh, Stafford goes out, backup quarterback in. We're getting value on the spread, getting +3, +3.5. Last time I checked, Cooper Kupp and Nakua are still receivers on that team that this guy gets to throw to, and Sean McVay is still pretty decent coach. Give me all those 3 points and the money lines. Those are my two picks there.
so Justin, I'm gonna throw it to you on this note. One, I love the Colts coach Steichen. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but that Colts do not have a ton of playmakers, and he is constantly getting them to put up points. And two, are we done with the Packers, Justin? Are we buried? We're like officially because you have to get to a point in the season where you're done saying, "Hey, my preseason prediction, I still have a chance to be right." Like, are we officially done with Jordan Love and the Packers here?
You're exactly right. I'm not picking the Packers anymore. But that game for me is more of a stay away. I'm not really going to do anything with that. Is Stafford definitely out? I just read I mean, he didn't practice today, but they didn't rule
I
him
don't
out
know.
or
I don't.
anything, but
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't watch these games. I heard he hurt his thumb. Could be out a couple
yeah.
weeks, but yeah,
The fact
Either
that
way, yeah.
we're doing this on Thursday night, so
Green Bay,
the fact that you're getting 3 points, I would assume that
Vegas is telling you that he's probably not
yeah,
playing.
I'm sure, but yeah, Green Bay. Not even gonna talk about that anymore. They're kind of becoming a little. Yeah, I don't know how they're not doing anything offensively. I haven't really seen much of their games, but Love must be struggling a lot.
I've seen too much of it, honestly. Between Jeremy making it the lock twice, and I loved it one way. It's just been bad. But
Hey, let me throw this out there. Full disclosure: I have their win season total over division NFC. I'm toasted here. I got other good bets, but that's not a good one. Green Bay.
there's five. Justin, I'm gonna give you the floor in 1 second. But there's five NFC teams. I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but there's five NFC teams that I guess everybody agrees will make the playoffs: Seahawks, 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles, and Lions. Right? And then try to figure out these other two teams. I mean, one of them has to be from the South. I guess they could be two from the South. But when you start thinking about these other two teams, whereas in the AFC, it's like, man, it's loaded, especially with the Jets playing better than we thought they were going to play. Anyway, Justin,
Yeah, we knew the AFC was better, so it's not really surprising.
Loaded.
all
At
right,
least top of them. But yeah. Anyway,
they make some people some money. Do you have any super strong convictions? You like a bunch of games. You did really well last week. I think the only thing you
last
missed
week,
last week
yeah,
was Cleveland, right?
Cleveland. My spread was 4, so that was a push for me.
Oh, well, then good.
Yeah, and then I hit the other ones.
They should have won that one though.
Was right on
It was the right
Carolina.
handicap.
I pretty much teed up Carolina exactly right. I thought it'd be a close, low-scoring game, kind of ugly. And Carolina would get their first win. Houston was a little too high, Carolina a little too low, so I hit that one. And then I hit a couple other ones. But speaking of Carolina, Houston,
I can believe it.
I'll start with Houston. I'm gonna go back to them this week. I don't like Tampa Bay at all from what I've seen from them. Actually, I had them last week against the Bills. Got a really lucky backdoor cover there. I don't like what I'm seeing from Baker. Their offense looks terrible. And I like Houston at home, coming off of a ugly loss where they probably didn't think they should have lost. And I'm pretty sure I saw less than a field goal. Like I always say, on low spreads with a favorite, I'm just gonna take the money line, whatever it ends up being. I like Houston coming off of that loss. Gonna go back to them.
Okay.
And then I kind of like Carolina again, especially if I'm seeing +3. I'm gonna go back to them. I think Young is starting to improve a little bit and find his rhythm. Colts have been teetering back and forth, but I didn't like them before the year, so I'm kind of gonna go back to that. I don't know what's going on with their defense. I don't know how the Saints put up almost 40 against them. That's kind of shows me something. That's really bad. Ravens back when we played them should have put up a lot more against them, and that fumble just turned our whole tides around. But that's a whole another lifetime ago, pretty much. But
Literally,
I like Carolina again. Going back to them. Is there anything else I like? I kind of like. I think more and more talk about it. I'm gonna probably take Cincinnati. Same kind of thing there. Small favorite. I'm gonna take them on the money line. Probably end up being minus 125 or so. I think they're gonna beat Buffalo. And then one of my favorite plays actually. It's kind of homerish, but I kind of circled this a few weeks ago. I like the Ravens a lot. I'm not that impressed with Seattle. They're 5-2. I think they're a little worse than their record shows. I'm not that convinced that they're a surefire playoff team yet.
Mhm.
I think we can get after them. I don't. They have a decent offense, but I don't. I mean, their best player is probably the running back. I can't see us letting up a lot to them. And I think we will put up a lot of points on them. It's kind of telling that spread's 6, with a 5-2 or 6-2 team. A lot of people might think it would be smaller, but I kind of thought it would be around 5 or 6 when it came out, and it's only gone up. It might have started at 4.5, 5. It's up to 6. I like the Ravens a lot. I think we can hopefully beat them by 10, 14. Yeah.
Mike, what do you think of the Ravens game?
I like us, but we're the Ravens are a team that are just gonna dominate the box score, dominate the pace of play and control. But when you look at the score, it's like, what do you mean we only won by 3 points? So I could just see that happening. 400 yards to 250, but a turnover here or something dumb there, and it's close. I'm definitely picking the Ravens. I guess the spread at -6, 5.5. So doesn't surprise me. Seattle, I think, doesn't they don't move the needle for me. I think they exceeded expectations tremendously last year. They're kind of riding the coattails of that a little bit and just taking advantage of a bad NFC. I could see them stumbling and going 8-9 and missing the playoffs from other teams sneaking by. So give me the Ravens.
Do you guys do daily fantasy like each week? I know you guys do fantasy for the season, but do you make lineups each week?
I
Yeah,
stay away. Michael doesn't.
I definitely love to do it. I love thinking about the game theory, trying to break through, seeing how, it's not about being right. It's kind of just increasing your odds, if you will.
Well, because the reason I brought that up, I wanted to spend a couple minutes to see what you guys thought. It's becoming increasingly difficult with the lack of violence. Like I used to want to handicap the games from more of a psychological perspective and, wearing a team down and some of the old school ways that you would look at football. And it becomes really hard to do that with the rule changes. And I feel like it's easier, frankly, especially for people that have the time to do it, to handicap, whether it's NBA, Major League Baseball, but especially the NFL, player props and daily fantasy, and try to figure out where you're going to find the advantages, because Vegas, they don't spend the time with that the way they do with the lines, right? Like Vegas, they're setting the lines, they're following money, you have to pay juice. There's all these factors that go into making it difficult to handicap the games. But when it comes to fantasy, it's like a big contest where everyone has the same odds, everyone has the same, you're competing against other people instead of competing against, the book. So if you're willing to do your homework, I feel like, do you guys agree with that? I don't actually do daily fantasy, but Michael, will ask you, do you find that you have more success? I know you do it with golf also. Is it just easier? Am I on something, or what do you think?
So I would actually argue the inverse. I would actually say that books, because there is such a rise in the popularity of these, that they've actually become, I think 5 years ago or even 3 years ago, you could find maybe more of an edge in these player props and receiving props, rushing totals, pass attempts, whatever. I think with the, again, popularity and with all these new states legalizing this, I think they are definitely committing a lot of resources into these numbers where it's always gonna kind of come down to it. I want to say overall too within daily, it's all the game has changed also pretty significantly in the last just couple of years. Like I don't pay for any subscriptions. I don't, I like to just do my own research, see where the dice fall. But a lot of people, and it's not like it's even that expensive these days, but pay for, I think they're called like simulators or kind of like algorithm, artificial intelligence type of things that bake in projections and ownership and just spit out a formula based on what your parameters are. And it's almost like a man versus machine where like me doing it by myself, like clicking and clacking, I can't compete honestly anymore. So you have to find the right tournaments. You have to find the right kind of entries to even get in, because I think the most popular one is say like the $20 one to win $1 million. Like everyone wants that dream, but your chance of winning that is like, I would argue less than zero, just because you're drawing dead just because of lineup construction and these whatever, like I said, these sims and whatever. So I do it for fun. I do it for kibitz. So it's all just throw away some $20 and hopefully it wins. There is some strategy to it. Having said all that, I will say stacking obviously makes so much sense. Put a quarterback with multiple players. Most beneficial or pass catchers. You want correlation. So quarterback with two receivers. In that high scoring game, you always want to bring it back with someone on the other side, either a receiver or maybe even a running back. If the other team's winning by 2 scores the whole time, run, you get those points. The other team pass. Yeah, just think of everything correlated. So once you have that set of say maybe 4 or 5 players, you pick that one game that's going to be the highest scoring one of the week, the 43-40 overtime one. You can somehow get that right. You can fit in what's called mini stacks, find other high scoring games and say, give me this receiver on Indy, who are the Colts playing this week, this receiver on the Panthers, and for whatever reason they go off. It's all about correlation. It's fun to think about, but at the end of the day, it's a lottery ticket, and it's fun to have out there. That's all I view it as.
My only opinion off of that, and why I say I don't really do daily fantasy with football, I think it's impossible to win that much at it. Yeah, it's fun. You could probably win a little bit. I personally, some people can probably win on it, but I just have not done well in it. I'd rather bet on a single game where it's either this team or this team, not where you have to create a whole lineup and compete against all these people that kind of know what they're doing with these lineups. So I stay away from that.
My experience was vicariously through a buddy who did it poker style, where you would have like 9 people and the entry would be like $500. So it was like that's more of, it was appealing to me. But I think within those 9 people, especially when you're doing it for a significant amount of money, to Michael's point, now there are so many tools available. Those guys are doing it. If you're not willing to spend the money and the time to do it, you're going to be behind people. All right. Well, look, this was fun. Rangers win the World Series. I think that makes it easier for us to digest the Orioles season. It makes me feel a little bit better about our sweep. Not the most exciting World Series, I guess, because it didn't go 7 games, but for a 5-game series, I thought it was pretty good. Justin, I know.
I saw, and it kind of makes sense. The ratings were pretty dang low. I don't think Arizona was a very appealing team. So if baseball, MLB wise, I'm sure they wanted the Phillies. Rangers would have been a lot more appealing. But yeah, good. I mean, good for Texas. They had a crazy good lineup, and somehow their bullpen and pitching held up. Yeah, so good for them. And
we had their bullpen on the ropes in game.
We did. I really think the whole baseball playoffs could have changed if we could have taken the lead game 1, which we probably should have. But I mean, the rest is history. Hopefully, it's us next year.
All right,
I will say. I said take the road team every game, and it hit 4 out of 5.
So let's wrap up. Make sure we get everything on the books. And we'll put everything out, make sure our picks are recorded and all that jazz. My favorite game is going to be the Browns. I'm going to give the 8.5 points. I'd probably give 12 points, 13 points. I would take the under team total for the Cardinals. I think that would be my favorite bet, even more than the 8.5, just in case it's like 12-6 or something. Justin, remind us again, what are your favorite games?
So my favorite games are, and I'll send them out to you as well. But Ravens, Texans, Panthers, and probably end up doing the Bengals.
Ravens, Texans, Panthers, and Bengals probably as a smaller favorite. And Michael?
I love it, Justin. We're head to head here. I got at least on Indy. I do like Tampa. It's not a play, but they're in my teaser, so this is a couple head to head. My official play is Indy -2.5, Rams +3. Official 2-team teaser is going to be Cleveland and New Orleans, but like I said, include Tampa and the Giants. So Cleveland, New Orleans, Tampa, Giants, 6 point teasers. I'll get official plays out.
Sweet. Appreciate you guys. Good luck to everybody. What you say,
I will
Justin?
say I like Carolina in a teaser as well, getting them through the 7. So I might do that as well. And I wanted to point out something to you, Ryan. Sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
just think about what you said with you loving Cleveland -8, 8.5. I don't think that has happened many times in the past 20 years.
There's going
They're
to be
not the kind of team that I like doing that with. But
You probably want Walker, right? You probably don't even want Watson back.
I
I'm
really
sure, I
don't-
think it's Walker again.
I
So
think
just,
after watching the
fair
Cardinals.
warning.
Well, let me ask you this. If the Cardinals, since you just said that on the way out, I thought the spread should be like 11 or 12, but then the Cardinals scored all those points at the end, maybe against us last week, made it look a little better. They got to go all the way to, like, they're going to get annihilated. Isn't it a 1 o'clock game? It's a one.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
All right, good. I'll look like an idiot if they get killed, but or if they don't cover. But I love Cleveland. How many times have I said that? Probably not a lot.
It should be 9. Protect teaser protection. Get your teasers in, Ryan. Get them in.
And
It
Deshaun,
might go up. You get them in now.
we can do another next time we do the podcast. Remind me, I would like to start with who's actually left that's good at quarterback. Because I started off by saying before we recorded, I think this Will Levis character is like
I
really
agree.
good,
He's looking pretty good.
right? Like
He's
he
on
can,
the side here.
but we're like running out of quarterbacks that are like good. And there's not, I watch a lot of college football. There's not a ton that I'm saying. All right, let me shut up and get you guys out of here.
I want to say one more thing actually too. Just
Good, you got the last
speaking of
word.
teams that shouldn't be favorites like this, Atlanta. I don't care that they're playing a rookie no-name quarterback.
But
Never
they
touch
have good,
touch them with a 10-foot pole.
okay, but they have good karma for finally getting rid of Desmond Ritter. Nobody's
I
happy
guess
with
you're
the
right.
Atlanta Falcons locker room.
You're probably right with that, but I still,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a stay away game for me. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not taking them -4 any day.
As a principle. It's a principle.
Exactly. I have principles like this. There's a lot of teams I don't like when they're favorites like this.
All right. And by the way, the Packers will probably win by 2 touchdowns now. Me and Jeremy.
No doubt. No doubt.
All right. See you guys next week.
I guess.